Hello and welcome to a special post-game edition of the Silver Bulletin. I'm here with Colin Haas-Hill, the sports editor, James King, the assistant sports director, and Edward Sudlin, the assistant sports editor. So the first thing we're going to talk about, Ohio State just beat Penn State 39-38. What's your initial reaction?
I mean, it's almost tough to put in words what to even think about this game. I mean, everything that possibly could have happened in a football game happened, I feel like.
Pretty much.
It started off, Penn State pretty much had the lead for 3/4 of the game. They were seemingly dominating in every facet, except for there was, of course, a lot of people sort of wondering, like Penn State's leading in the score on the scorecard, but they weren't leading in total yardage for most of the game. But special teams was a disaster for Ohio State, and it put them in an almost impossible hole to dig out of. And yet they dug out of it. Ohio State's quarterback, JT Barrett, he was as spot on as he possibly could have been. He was connecting on passes that there was one pass I even told Colin I thought was intercepted, it turned out that
the one that was on the right half.
Yeah, to Austin Mack.
Yep.
Yeah, he seemed to be on a totally different level, and by the end of it, Ohio State ended up proving that they're a team that's legit. They are ready to compete with some of these top teams.
You know what else they proved? The offense is not a lie.
Yeah,
and this is the thing that I think that we wanted to make sure that it wasn't, because the reason I picked Ohio State. The reason I picked Ohio State is because I thought the offense wasn't a lie, and because I thought that the last 5 weeks this was the real offense, and it is the real offense. This offense is really, really good. The one thing that we don't really still know is why J.K. Dobbins had 0 carries in the second quarter, and that sort of, honestly, I think
it was just hot hand. Mike Weber picked up a
hot hand.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Weber picked up a.
If they went with a hot hand, they would have went with the guy that had 4 carries for 50 yards. But that's a hot hand normally in my mind. But this offense is for real, and this offense is a championship level offense. And we stood here after the Oklahoma game, and not a single one of us would have ever said that.
No, not even. I think, like I said, the offense. I didn't think the offense was a lie, but I think I got fooled by Penn State's defense. I honestly thought their defense was a lot better than the way they played tonight.
I didn't think they played bad.
No, they didn't play bad. I didn't think Ohio State would be able to march down the field like that to go and win a game on that defense. I didn't see that happening. I didn't think that they would be able to do that. But Ohio State, they dug that hole. They were down 18 at one point. I think ESPN projected them with a 97% chance that Penn State was going to win the game, and they battled back. Like Urban said, they kept swinging, and that is a championship offense. That's a championship team to be able to do that.
And so we're talking about how great the offense is, but the defense today played very well. They held Saquon Barkley to 44 yards. 44
yards on 20 carries.
And he is one of the best players in college football right now. He's a top Heisman candidate. What does that say about the Ohio State defense?
They're one of the best. Okay. Let's separate a few things. The run defense is potentially one of the best run defenses in America, and I think we all knew that going in.
Yeah. We
all knew that Saquon would have his moments, and he did have that moment in I think it was it the first or the second quarter where he 36-yard touchdown. Now he had a 36-yard touchdown. And he ran for 44 yards.
Yeah.
That tells you all you need to know about the Ohio State's run defense for most of the game. So where Ohio State got, in my mind, lucky was in the first half. On a few times it seemed like Trace McSorley had some open wide receivers, and either they dropped it or he missed them, and there were a few moments where I think Penn State could have even taken a further lead.
Yeah.
Ohio State has some holes in his pass defense still, but at the end of the day, they did just enough. They did what they needed to do. The pass rush is really good, and they especially in the second half pass rush really swarmed McSorley, and he was running for his life for a few times, and he ran for his life at one point over here, and it was the third and 10. And when he got that 3rd and 10 and they drove down, I thought they were going to score there. I thought that might have been the game, but they did just enough.
Yeah. Now, we were talking about Saquon just a minute ago being a Heisman hopeful. Did we see a flip to another player that played in this game, JT Barrett? How have his Heisman chances changed after this game?
I think they've substantially increased, and I think that it's partly because JT has dominated almost every opponent that he's played with the exception of Oklahoma. And I think when you look at a Heisman candidate's resume, there's always that one game that you say, oh, are they really for real? Every player seems to have it.
Could be this game for Saquon.
It could be this game for Saquon. But at the same time, Bryce Love just missed his last game for Stanford. Saquon had a very bad game today against Ohio State, with the exception of his first play of the game, pretty much.
And exception.
Yeah, and JT has stood out over the last couple games. And while I think that you could say that over those previous 5 games, it was just he wasn't playing anybody. He was playing against Rutgers and Army and UNLV. Now he's just beat up on a defense Urban Meyer called the #1 defense in the country. And I think that what it did for JT was it substantially decreased the gap for him, at least, between Barkley and Love, and really made it a 3-man race, I think, for the Heisman now.
Yeah, I mean, he was 33 of 39, set the Ohio State record for most completed passes, most consecutive completed passes. You talk about that Heisman moment, and this Heisman moment, when you watched him that last drive, like he said, he was just so poised. Like you saw that he was under control, and he was making throws. I had never seen him throw into those tight windows like that. That's one of the big detractors people have had of JT Barrett, not throwing in those, not taking the chances of throwing those windows. And I think he did that tonight.
When was the last time that there was a Heisman Trophy candidate that almost got benched in week 2, or at least the fans benched him?
Yeah,
he was not almost benched, but the fans benched him. The fans benched him in week 2. It is such a miraculous rise. I don't understand it.
Meteoric.
It is meteoric. It is in a way that I don't think anyone could have possibly seen coming. I mean, I thought some of us might say that, oh, JT Barrett would have this rise where he gets a little bit better, but at the end of the day, he's a 5th-year senior. How much better can he get?
Yeah.
Maybe he's Heisman Trophy good at this point, and that is a weird word to say when you consider that a month and a half ago he was a potentially. You would have thought that Dwayne Haskins might be a better quarterback.
The fans wanted his spot to be given to Dwayne.
All right, so after this
Wait,
game,
one more thing. Special teams.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
Special
God,
teams.
the special teams.
How bad? How many times does this special teams have to get burned for them to change something? How many times?
I just want to throw out there that when I predicted Penn State would win, I did say that Saquon would return a touchdown on the kickoff, and I didn't.
Who won?
Yeah, no, congrats. No, yeah, and that was the thing, is that I said that if Penn State was going to win, it wasn't going to be because Ohio State's offense was bad or anything like that. It was because their special teams was just so remarkably bad, and I think that they proved to be almost that bad today. There were several times when Penn State might have scored that game-winning touchdown, when that linebacker of theirs, I can't remember his name right now, Koa something, I can't remember. I think he's a freshman.
Yeah.
When he caught the kickoff at like the 40-yard line, and he just made some little move or something and just made the entire special teams miss, and he almost took it to the house. I mean, you look back on it, that could have decided the game. Special teams in the end was just good enough to prevent Penn State from winning the game. It really was the reason that Ohio State even had to make that last fourth quarter comeback, was because it was so bad. The kickoffs in particular, I should say.
Yeah, we talked about before this game, it was a fork in the road. A fork in the road. This game would be the fork in the road, sending them down one path or the other. Now that we see that path that they're going down, they're headed towards a Big Ten East title, going to the Big Ten championship game.
Oh, did you just declare it? Did you declare it?
No, I'm saying that's their path.
Okay.
That's their path. That's the path they're trying to take. Come on. What do you see? What could hamper that? Because I know you are pretty high on Michigan. Pretty high on Michigan.
Let's not go that far.
I'd say for the record that Colin still believes, to a degree, that Michigan could potentially beat Ohio State.
Yeah,
at some point. Okay.
Yeah, this year I think. Yeah, this year.
Do you think they will beat Ohio State this season?
No. Michigan will not beat Ohio State. Oh God, that's gonna go back to bite me.
Oh goodness.
That's gonna be wrong. But the thing is, this year, everyone has looked. When you came into the year, there were 3 games. It was gonna be Oklahoma, Penn State, and it was going to be Michigan was that third. And all they had to do was just beat 2 of them. And they failed the first opportunity.
And it didn't look like they would get the second.
And after the second, now it almost looks like they're going to be double-digit favorites for the entire remainder of the season, which is miraculous. Because if a couple plays, maybe if one play had gone a different way out here tonight, they'd have 2 losses, and you'd be looking at a team that all of a sudden had this JT Barrett who just couldn't get it done in the big games, and you had Urban Meyer who lost his last 3 big games.
Yeah.
It's not the case right now. It's 39-38 Ohio State. Miraculous. You're right. Fork in the road. This could have gone 2 ways, one of 2 ways. and right now they're sitting pretty for the college football playoff.
Well, that's all we have for you. Tune in Monday for another edition of the Silver Bulletin, and we'll have highlights for you in the top 5 plays from today's game. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.